Welcome to the Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show, where we make plant-based cooking easy. I'm Jill, and today we are making shortbread cookies.
Grab a plate, 'cause it's the all-free whole food plant-based cooking show.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the show. Today's recipe, man, you are just gonna love. So we're making some shortbread cookies, and these are super healthy, because typically shortbread cookies are made with flour, butter, white sugar, maybe a little bit of salt. They're pretty simple, but we're not using any of that. We're using whole food ingredients to replace all of those ingredients. So we're gonna get right into it. If you want the printable recipe, it'll be in a link in the details below. So what we're first gonna do, we're gonna grind our oats. I have 1.5 cups of organic rolled oats, and we're just gonna make a flour out of them first. And it's super cheap to make your own oat flour, and it's so worth it. And two, because usually the oat flour from the grocery store is ground just a little bit too fine, and I find that, you know, my recipes come out a little bit gummy when I use the store-bought oats, so it's worth just grinding your own. So I'm just gonna grind it until it's kind of a rough grind flour.
Today's show is brought to you in part by Nutrilicious. Nutritional yeast is an essential ingredient found in every modern-day plant-based kitchen that actually dates back to ancient Egyptian times. Nutrilicious nutritional yeast is a powerful superfood that is gluten-free, low in sodium, non-GMO, and 100% vegan. Nutrilicious is high in dietary fiber, pound for pound has more protein than beef, and is full of the cheesy flavor we crave. As a very special deal for our viewers, click the link in the card or in the description to save up to 55% off of your order.
There we go. Just really quick. That was probably, I don't know, 10-15 seconds. And it should look the same or very similar texture to your almond meal. That's our other ingredient. So we put that in the bowl first. Then we've got 1.5 cups of almond meal or almond flour. You can also use almond meal. The only difference is that the almond meal usually has the skins still. They grind it up with the skins on, which makes no difference to this recipe. All right, so then we've got 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder and 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Those are the leavening agents. They're gonna help it rise just a teeny bit. And then 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. So that's gonna give it just a teeny little hint of cinnamon flavor. So mix those up, just stir them up gently. And then we'll mix our other ingredients up together. Okay, switch this over. So now we're gonna do the wet ingredients. So we're gonna use our same little cup. It doesn't matter, you don't have to clean out that blade because it's all going in the same place. I have 3/4 cup of pitted dates that I've just chopped up a little bit because this part doesn't have a whole lot of liquid in it. So it's a little bit challenging to get it to mix up really well. So that's why you want to chop up your dates. Then I have 1/3 cup of tahini. You may be thinking, ooh, tahini in a cookie? Absolutely yes. You are going to be so surprised at the flavor of these. They're so rich. They're just delicious. Then I'm going to put 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And then 1/3 cup of water. And if your blender is still really struggling to mix at this point, you know, when you get going, you can always add, you know, 1 teaspoon to 1 tablespoon of water just to get things moving. And it'll still be okay. So we're just gonna blend this until those dates are completely ground up. Okay, let's check and see what we have here. Okay, that is good enough. If you can see the dates. There's still little chunks in there, but that's okay. Teeny little chunks aren't gonna do any harm. So we're gonna throw that all in there. You gotta make sure you get as much of that out as possible, because like I said, there isn't a whole lot of liquid here compared to how much flour is in the bowl. So try to get that out. Probably should have my spatula, but that's all right. Get some of this out of the blade. Okay. Then we're just going to stir this up until it's all incorporated together. Okay, so we have it all mixed together, and I already have my oven preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, and I got out my baking tray here, and then I've got the optional sesame seeds, which I'll show you that in a little bit. And then I got 2 pieces of parchment paper. So I'm going to put the parchment paper here first, because we're going to roll these out, because, you know, so that we can make a nice round. And this is optional. If you don't want to do this, you can also just roll them into a ball and smush them flat, you know, with the bottom of a jar or your hand even on the cookie sheet. But this just makes a little bit nicer, you know, more consistent, uniform round cookies. So see how it all comes together in a ball, just like a shortbread would, right? Okay, so we're going to press that down on the first piece of parchment. And then we'll put the other piece on the top. And then you take your rolling pin. If you don't have a rolling pin, you can use like a vinegar bottle or a wine bottle. That also works. Or just even if you have a dowel rod or something like that, that would work. So we're going to roll these out probably about 1/3 of an inch thick, something like that. You don't want them too thick, because then you can get more cookies out of this. And this batch makes about 1.5 dozen cookies. So we'll see what we come out with when I roll these out. Okay, so you take that piece. I'm going to save that piece. I'm going to put that on my baking tray, just like that. You don't want to waste that. It's just got the same stuff on it as here. So I'll take that. Now, if you have your cute little, you know, cookie cutters, I didn't have any today, so I'm just using a round, this just cup that I found, and you're just going to press them just like you would cookie, you know, the cookie cutter. And to get them out, you know, because we're not using flour, it's going to be really sticky. So I just push it in on one edge, and then they kind of flop out. See, look at that nice little cookie. All right, so I'm going to continue to cut these out, and then I'll show you before we put them into the oven. While we're waiting for that, I'd like to share with you some background on our show. The Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show is crowd-funded, which means these free weekly recipe videos, along with our entire catalog of recipes on our website, plantbasedcookingshow.com, and our new Plant-Based Cooking Made Easy cookbook are all made possible in part by the generous patronage of our supporting members. By becoming a supporting member, you gain access to great member perks like monthly product giveaways, free downloads of our ebooks, and access to our in-depth courses, including our 28 Days Plant-Based Made Easy course, where we offer a step-by-step guide to making the switch to a fully plant-based diet. We create this show for the hundreds of thousands of viewers just like you who tune in each month from all over the world to make it easy for everyone to live a plant-based lifestyle. So if you love our content, please join us on our mission and become a supporting member today by following the link in the description. Okay, let's get back to the show. So I rolled out half of the batch and did just these nice circular ones. And the other ones are my favorite way to eat them. So you just take some of the dough, you roll it in a ball, And then I have some sesame seeds here. They're just regular sesame seeds. They're not toasted or anything like that. They're just raw sesame seeds. And I just roll it in there, kind of push it down so they stick into there. And then I put them on the cookie sheet. And then I just smash it with my hand. You can, use something else if you want, but it's super easy just to do it with your hand. And that gives it that extra little crunch. I just love the flavor and the crunch so much. So now we're going to stick these in the oven for 15 minutes. Okay guys, they are out of the oven and smelling amazing. Come on in and take a look at these beautiful little cookies. I can't wait to dig in. But I'm gonna let these cool for a few minutes, and then I'll grab some soy milk and I'll meet you at the table for a taste. You know what time it is. It's my favorite time. I'm gonna go for the sesame ones because they are my favorite. I mean, look at that. Let's see. Yep, these are the perfect dunking cookie. You can dunk them in hot or cold. My favorite is actually dunking them in coffee, but I've got some soy milk here. Oh wow, those are so good. They're not overly sweet, but if you remember the flavor of shortbread, it's a little bit dry, but it's a little bit sweet. Chewy, rich, yum. And with the sesames, you get that extra little crunch in there. So delicious. So be sure to give this a like, guys, and I'll see you next week for another great recipe.